Okay, let's dive in. We're exploring a really interesting kind of philosophical question today, pulled straight from our source material. It's this idea, what does it actually mean when people say we're all in the same boat when it comes to changing our lives? Seems simple, but maybe not. So, our mission here is to really unpack this concept of the initial impulse, that first spark, that sudden urge or idea that starts the whole transformation thing. And the source hits us with something pretty challenging right away. It suggests we're only really equal right at that very first moment, that specific impulse, which feels odd, right? If we're all struggling, why is that the only point of equality?
It's a fascinating angle, and the definition they use is key. It says before anyone can change, they first have to encounter the idea that change is even possible. That's the absolute baseline requirement. Just knowing transformation is, well, an option on the table. And this isn't exactly a brand new thought either. The source connects it back, even to figures like Buddha, apparently he acknowledged this too, called it the message of liberation. You have to know freedom exists before you can even start looking for it.
Right, right. But here's where it gets really interesting and honestly maybe a bit unsettling. The source is super clear. A person cannot generate that first impulse out of themselves.
Mhm.
You can't just decide to have this impulse. It has to come from outside.
Exactly. Which is kind of a big deal.
It really throws a wrench into the whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps idea, doesn't it? It means we're sort of waiting.
Well, yes. The implication is that it relies entirely on chance, on luck. If you can't spark it internally, you're dependent on some external event.
So that external trigger, what could it be? Who provides it?
That's where the randomness comes in. The source says basically anyone nearby could do it. It could be getting a book from a friend, or
Right.
maybe you hear a quote that just
Like
clicks.
a random link someone sends you?
Yep. Or a link to a website, even just a line from a poem you happen to read. The source really emphasizes this point sometimes. Even a random phrase can do it.
Wow. So a life-altering insight could literally be buried in some comment you just scroll past online.
Potentially, yes. That's the chance part of the equation. The message is out there, scattered around.
Okay, so chance delivers the message, the spark. But you mentioned earlier, that's not the whole story.
Not at all, because that spark, that message, it needs something to land on. The source puts it nicely. The idea only grows if the seeds fall on fertile ground,
Fertile ground, meaning.
meaning internal readiness. You have to be in a state to actually receive that message. It acts like a filter, almost.
And what makes the ground fertile? Is it just being open-minded?
Often, according to the source, it's more about desperation. It specifically mentions people who are desperately searching for a way out of a crisis. If you're not feeling some internal pressure, or you're not actively looking for answers under that random phrase, that book,
It just bounces off. It's noise.
exactly, it doesn't register. So you've got these two parts. The external message, which is chance,
Mm.
and the internal state, the fertile ground, which is more about your own preparation, your own situation, maybe something we have a bit more influence over.
Okay, that clarifies things. So,
Yes.
liberation or transformation needs both. It needs that external trigger, totally up to chance, and it needs that internal readiness, the fertile ground.
It's a two-part mechanism. The message has to arrive, yes, but you also have to be tuned in to receive it.
So, what's the takeaway for us, for you listening? If this message, this spark of possibility, is potentially everywhere, like hidden in plain sight,
In a random phrase, a link, a bit of poetry.
then maybe the real challenge isn't finding the message itself. Maybe the challenge is cultivating your own internal state, making sure your own ground is fertile.
That seems to be the implication. What does it take to make that ground fertile? That's something worth thinking about.
Indeed. What makes your ground fertile? Go forth and explore that.